Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Ali Show, and today we have another very special guest, Wendy Talbot,
Yes.
a professional fighter, kickboxer, boxer,
Yeah, I've
Um,
dabbled in boxing.
dabbled in boxing, and a few other things. But anyway, Wendy, before we get into it, how are you today?
Good, thank you, Ali. How are you?
Not too bad myself.
Good.
It's good to have you on.
Thank you for
After
having me
your recent win, a very impressive performance, which we will
Yes.
get to in a bit. But yeah, anyway, Wendy, before we get on any further, for those who don't know who you are, could you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
So I'm Wendy, and I started fighting when I was 17 down in Rotorua, and then moved to Tauranga and started fighting there under Red Dragons, Brent Mahari, and then got moved up to Auckland. And so I've been a fighter basically my whole life.
Since you know, in your
since-
teenage years, but
Yeah.
how did you get into fighting? Like, what made you want to get into fighting?
So growing up in Rotorua, we were a little bit mischief, and just
I think I've had a few guests now who've said, coming
Yeah.
up from Rotterdam. Yeah.
Street fighting got me into it. My very first street fight, I had a little friend that was like tiny, beautiful girl, and she got just knocked out in front of me, and for some reason I went into fight mode and just started fighting this person, and I had the adrenaline rush I got from it. I was just like, that was insane. And so it was kind of, I don't care if I get into a fight anymore, like kind of enjoy it. But then my best friend at the time, Courtney, her mum's boyfriend did kickboxing, and so they were like, you guys need to go to a gym and get
Train.
your aggression out and all that kind of stuff. And so we started training at Sepaki Muay Thai in Rotorua with Dave Garn and Joe White, and then I trained on and off for a while because I was still playing rugby at school, and I was still hunting heaps and all that kind of stuff. And then I was
talking about the hunting. Oh man, that's another one. We'll get into the hunting in a while. Yeah, I have a few questions.
no, cool. I love talking about hunting.
Yeah.
So I was going to go into the army. I was training to go into the army as well.
Oh.
And I wanted to go in as either a driver or ammunition technician. But my recruitment officer at the time was like, there's no positions in there. We'll just get you in as an office administrator. And I was just like, I don't really want to sit behind a computer. That's not really, I don't know what to do.
Not really the reasons for getting into the
No, and
army.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not very academic at all. And so I was like, oh, just have a fight. So I had my first fight on when I was 17. It was on Muay Thai Mayhem 2, and I fought Holly Devonport from Rotorua.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a pretty good
How
fight.
many months after you started training did you take that fight?
So I started we were on and off for a few years, and then I trained every day for I think maybe 6 weeks. And I started off, so we matched up at 68 kgs because I was a little fatty. And then when I started training every day,
Which is quite hard to believe, but okay.
I know. I was a 68 kg teenager, and then dropped to 58 kgs in the fight camp, just training hard, not drinking, just kind of focusing on that. And then she still weighed in at 68 kg, so there was a 10 kg difference.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. So the fight was agreed at 68.
Yeah,
But you came in at 58.
yeah,
Oh my
just
goodness.
it is what it was. I was a strong 58 kg fighter when I first started, and
Hey guys, stop letting your body go on in pain and feeling sore all the time, man. Start putting some deposits in your health bank and take care of your vessel. Go get yourself an amazing massage gun from Sharpened Recovery. It's a very affordable and lasts a long time. Highly recommended. It probably costs less than 5 meals outside and definitely cheaper than a pair of shoes. Instead of getting something that's going to be on your feet, why not get this massage gun to massage those feet and legs? Go to sharpenedrecovery.com and use the code AliChannel for 20% off your guns. Yes, 20%. You can thank me later. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go get yourself some amazing gear.
Yeah, it didn't worry me. I was just still in that teenage scrappy mood as well. It was just a scrap to me, really. I hadn't found the initial art of the of martial arts. Like at that time, it was just fighting to me. There wasn't such a in-depth understanding of what I was doing, but it didn't take me long to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, that's pretty full on. Like, and like, you know, fighting at a, man, for anybody who knows fighting or who has fought before, like they'll understand that a 10 kilo difference is a lot.
Yeah, for your first fight as well. Like it was
Yeah. What was the height? Was there a lot of height difference as well, or no?
No, we were quite similar. We were quite similar in height. She wasn't too much shorter than me, but it was just a 3-round, 2-minute. Like I didn't have shin pads.
There was a Muay Thai fight, right?
Yeah, I skipped novice and just went to amateur, and it was good. She had already had one fight, but
how did that fight go?
It was good. I won by unanimous decision.
Oh,
it was one of those like just full on amateur fight, like just going for it. Front kicks, love the front kicks, and it was good. It was a good fight, but man, was my legs jelly afterwards. Like you think you've trained enough to do it, and then you have your first fight, and you're like, holy crap, it's insane.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you just carried on training Muay Thai and kickboxing after that?
Yeah, shortly after that fight, I moved to Tauranga and wanted to do it a little bit more seriously. And I met a dude. Yeah. And was like, just started training with them and
met a dude.
Met a dude.
When you say met a dude, what does that mean, Wendy?
Well, it was my first boyfriend.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
I'd never really had any relationships, and he was.
Oh, so was that dude the reason why you moved to Tauranga?
To Tauranga, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because
okay,
I'd met him a few years back through a friend that was doing Muay Thai as well, but then he was fighting for a heavyweight NZ light heavyweight title, I think it was, the same night I had my first fight, and I was like, hey, I remember that guy, and then we started talking and things like that, and then we started seeing each other, and then I bloody moved over there, didn't I?
Wow. Yeah.
It's
just like pack your stuff and let's go.
Yeah the first kind of.
And how was it over there?
It was really cool. I really, really like training at Red Dragons. Brent's amazing. He's still one of my best friends. Like, he trains you hard and he gets you fit and he gets you heaps of fights, and he's just he holds a lot of shows and stuff like that. Have you heard of Iron Shin? Shin? Yeah, Iron Shin. That's the new one. It was Muay Thai Mayhem.
Oh yes, I think Muay Thai Mayhem. I've heard of that name. Yeah.
And then. He named it something else, but now it's Iron Shin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where are the shows usually at?
In Tauranga.
Okay,
yeah.
In Tauranga, yeah.
Yeah, so I fought a lot close to home, which was pretty cool. So my family didn't have to travel very far to watch me and stuff like that. And yeah.
And
cool.
And then when did you move to Auckland?
It was at the end of 2012. I was defending my NZ lightweight, TBA lightweight title for like the third time, and I won the fight. I did like 3 moves, and the fight was over. The poor girl tore her ACL. Like it wasn't a knockout or anything. I just damaged the kneecap, and Wendy,
what have you done?
Well, I didn't realize like all I did was an inside kick, outside kick, and then I think maybe a head kick or something like that. Oh no, it was a front kick. I went inside, outside, front kick, and she just fell over and didn't get back up. So that was a real quick end to the fight for me. And then Mike Angove was there, and he talked to me afterwards and just sold me this big story of moving up to Auckland and becoming a world champ, and that I've got the potential and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, okay.
He's a good salesman.
Yeah, definitely sold that pitch. And so I took 2 weeks off work and I went up to Auckland to have like a little trial and see if I liked the gym and stuff like that. And the next week I had a fight down in Wellington and I won that in like a minute or something for an elbow. Oh. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll move up to Auckland and do this a little bit more seriously.
Man,
so, yeah,
that's crazy. And
2 weeks later, I quit my job and moved up.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
This is back in 2012.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so I moved up at the end of 2012 and I was only here for a year because a lot of things kind of happened. I broke my foot and needed surgery,
Oh.
and I guess my mental strength wasn't as strong as what I thought it was because I wanted to run home to my mummy. I ran home to my mum.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You get tested along,
You get
your
pushed.
journeys,
Yeah.
and then you have injuries
Yeah.
and man, it's funny you mentioned about this. I was just at the gym earlier, and I was watching some videos on my phone. I was on the bike. I was cycling, um, and then I watched the speech from the Vaki brothers for the funeral of at Faust's funeral. And John was when John was giving his speech, and he was telling about the stories of how Fao got injuries when even back in school when he was in his wrestling days, and then getting into fighting. He had like a big injury. Doctors were saying he couldn't fight, and of all his injuries and whatnot, he always came through.
Yeah.
And that's just part of like being a fighter, and he showed very good example of what it is.
Definitely. He pushed through things that he was told he couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about fighting like in that ring. It's about all the other fights that happen outside of the ring as well. Develops your character and makes you a much stronger individual.
Yeah, and everyone's got different things they're dealing with outside of the gym. It's everyone's life's different.
Exactly, and this was one of the things that was really cool. I think it was one of the interviews or podcasts that Eugene did as well, which he said, the thing about like city kickboxing, or this thing about any gym in general, right? When you have a gym is a place that when you enter the gym, you kind of leave all your problems outside the door.
Yeah.
And you come in, you train, you have a good time with your mates and your friends, and you learn. And then, not saying you don't care about your problems, but like
no, but that's not a place for them.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing. Like he put that into your head, whatever you're going through, just leave it at the door. But it takes some people a long time to learn to do that. Like you've got to learn to switch off in the gym and just concentrate on what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. And
so how did you get through that, that tough period, that tough time, having the injuries and all that? What did you do?
Wow. See, the thing is when I broke my ankle, I fought on it for about 6 months. And I went to Thailand in that time as well and had one of the best fights of my life, to be honest, or so far. It was a super awesome fight.
Where was it at in Thailand?
It was in Bangkok.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was the first series of the World Muay Thai Angels, and I got selected to represent New Zealand. Wow. And it was insane. It was such a surreal experience, and I ended up fighting one of the Thai champs, Duanapa, and it was just one of those fights where like you couldn't really believe that you lost it, but you can because you're in Thailand, and if you don't win by knockout type thing, you're not going to get the decision against the Thai.
It's going to be quite hard to win.
But that was I was just so stoked with my fight. I didn't care about the decision. It was so good because it was also live back here for New Zealand and things like that, and there was so much pressure. I think it was my 16th fight. I think it was. So
16 fight.
Yeah, I was.
That's a lot.
I was pretty inexperienced compared to some of the girls that were in there. But it was cool.
Well, like you talk about the Thais, like they've been practically training since they were kids. Yeah. Like when we say kids, we're talking about 3, 4, 5 years old.
I think she had like 150 something fights. It was crazy. Oh. It was definitely getting to me mentally as well because I got matched up against her. We were first up on the card, all that kind of stuff, and I was just like, her legs were like tree trunks, and I was just like, this is gonna hurt. But it was really good.
Did it hurt?
I caught almost every kick she threw. Yeah. Like it was a real technically good fight for me. But when I got back from that, I had another fight against Leanne Banham, which I won in the second round, and then a few weeks later, or at the end of the year, I fought Sulin for the WMC light welterweight title because I was a bit overweight. Because I couldn't run and kick properly, and I was being a little princess at the gym.
Yeah,
And
because your ankle was
it needed
injured,
surgery.
Yeah.
Like it was the little hook bone had broken off and was floating around, and then there was a fracture in there as well.
Oh,
And so it was pretty hard to push through, but I mean I did, and that's what. It took me a while to understand what you can push through, what your body can actually go through, and as long as you keep your head game strong, you can push your body through ultimate limits. It's
I'm sorry. Just rewind back a little bit when you were saying about like the girl who's had like 150 over fights, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like 157 or something.
Like, because if you think about it, like a lot of, and this was the conversation that I had with Richie Hardcore when we were talking about this. Like, people forget that a lot of these Thais, they fight for a living.
Yeah.
So
every weekend sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, when you say, you know, they've had 100 over fights and stuff like that, it's crazy, you know. That's a huge number. But like, if you think about it, if they actually do fight for a living, that's actually pretty normal.
Yeah,
like, you know,
completely.
They
normal.
fight every weekend, like to earn money.
It's probably like a little fight record compared to what it's going to be in like 10 years if they keep going like that.
That's so crazy. And like some of them fight multiple times a week. That's crazy, right?
Female fighting took a while to be accepted, I think.
Where?
In Thailand.
Okay.
As well. But everywhere really. Because I remember this was one of the things, like girls couldn't jump over the ropes. You had to go under the ropes. Like there was a lot of like girls have to do certain things and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was a little bit weird. I always jump over the ropes, but because I was in Thailand, I went under them. And
is it like a cultural thing?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't. Yeah, like I think they've only just had their first girl fight at Lumpini Stadium, so that's a real big thing. But yeah, they've.
Is that the biggest stadium in?
Yeah, it's the ultimate stadium in Thailand to fight in.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
so girls never really.
You know
got
how many
that
people?
opportunity.
How many people it seats?
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
Okay.
No.
Oh man, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but if you become the like Lumpini champion, that's pretty like top dog.
Oh,
yeah.
And like, but that's the thing as well. There's a lot of Thai girls now who are fighting in like, you know, one championship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's like even bigger stages than like fighting in Thailand.
It's huge. It's really cool. And you've got not Chomini, the one from Tiger Muay Thai. I've had a complete mind blank.
Trying to remember her name. Is it the MMA fighter who's in the UFC?
Yeah, she's in the UFC. Loma.
Lukbumi. Lukbumi, I think.
It's really cool to see.
Butcher her name, yes. But she came to City Kickboxing as well. She did a camp before.
Did she?
Right? Yeah, I think
I missed that.
I think she came before and she did part of her training.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of, you know, female Thai fighters who are on the world stage as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's nothing, well, I wouldn't say nothing new, but it's the numbers are not huge yet.
No, the female fight game has a lot, like there's a lot of room for improvement just because there's not a lot of people in the divisions that they do have and things like that. So there's still a big thing to create with female fighting.
Even like for yourself, you know, talking about, because you've obviously fought from way back in the day, right? And then compared, like even here, right? We talk about New Zealand, right? From what it was then compared to what it is now. How much of a difference is it?
Oh, it's girls are getting a lot more opportunities than what they used to back when I first started. And like when I first started fighting, there was bugger all people to fight. Like
not enough opponents.
Nah, not enough opponents, and that's the thing. Like, so you would rematch people. Like I've had trilogies with people before as well, because if you want to keep fighting, especially in your home country, you've just got to rematch these people. And yeah, it's
What about like crossing borders over to Australia? And were there?
I haven't had a kickboxing fight in Australia. I've had a boxing fight in Australia.
Oh.
Yeah, that one didn't go so good. But yeah, I would love to fight an Aussie. I'd love it. Like they've got a fast paced kind of fight style, and they're really fit and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to fight an Australian. Yeah. Yeah,
because
good fight.
Well, I mean, I think that you want to fight in a kickboxing or Muay Thai fight. Right? Like,
yeah, definitely Muay Thai. Like, even though when I say that, I love full Thai, but gosh, I hardly throw any elbows sometimes. And I love elbows, but sometimes I only throw one or two because, yeah, you
You use the other things or
use
other
the other
tools
things,
that
and
you
you're
have.
so used to doing modified Thai as well, because not a lot of people
What
want to
is that?
fight with elbows. So
Modify?
modified Thai, you just kind of
Okay.
agree to some rules like
Okay.
no elbows or spinning back fists for like the real earlier fights that you have, and sometimes no knees to the head.
Okay.
But a lot of the time it's just no elbows because they're nasty. You can split someone's forehead open. Like,
But yeah,
it's pretty...
that's like, you know, that's a thing that what dirty boxing they do as well is, you know, you want to land the hook, but you know,
you kind of miss
you
and
kind
throw
of
the
miss
elbow.
and then follow through with the elbow. Yeah, that is like,
Yeah.
and it's you know, it has been going on for like since the start of time, you know, when people started to develop like all this under, you know,
there's a lot of dirty moves in fighting, and like,
I mean, if you even if like you accidentally missed and then you hit, right? Like,
yeah, it's there's lots of accidents like that do happen, and you can tell that someone's just thrown something and it's missed and something else is followed up. But you also see things like, because it's a lot of the fights are videoed, and like you see someone take someone to the ground and then they fully just dig their knee into their gut. Like,
yeah,
it's like there's no need for that kind of stuff. Like, it's it doesn't show much about the character of the person.
Yeah, definitely. And so what is your total number of fights right now? Like everything?
That was everything.
Oh, do you even keep track?
I'd lose track all the time. I think that was my 27th Muay Thai fight.
The recent one, or?
Yeah, that was my 27th Muay Thai fight. Well, stand up kickboxing type thing.
Yeah.
Because that was K1. But I've had 6 pro boxing fights, lost them all.
Yeah.
So what's that? 31, 32.
So sorry, 27?
27 plus
it's
6.
33.
33. Didn't do maths in school. Just played sports. And then I've had 1 B-class MMA fight, which I won by what Eugene calls it the most retardedest armbar he's ever seen. So that was... I'm going to claim it, though, because I fucking rocked that shit. Like...
Okay, wait. Okay, sorry.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video.
Sorry, you said it was a B class?
A B class.
What's a B class?
Well, I had shin pads on. That was my first shin padded fight. It was pretty interesting. But it's just like, it's another way to protect the fighters. Like, there was no ground and pound. You could ground and pound to the chest, which I thought was a little bit weird because for females, don't really want to be punching no boobies. And so, but that's kind of like, yeah, there's just a few like twigs to the rules just to keep us safe and things like that. So
keep us safe.
Yeah. We choose one of the most dangerous sports to do, but we want to keep ourselves safe.
Okay, so no, what was it? So shin pads, you said? Okay.
Yeah, shin pads, a little bit
ground
bigger
and pound.
gloves. Like, I think they were like 8 ounce maybe instead of 4 ounces.
8 ounces still.
Like big padded MMA gloves. Yeah.
The bigger ones. Okay.
Yeah, the bigger ones. But
the sparring ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they put that fight together because she was a purple belt, I believe, in jiu-jitsu, and I had so many stand-up fights. So they were like, that's even. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, she has a stronger ground game. You have a stronger stand-up game.
She'd had a few stand-up fights, but ages ago. And so the whole time I trained, which wasn't that long, I was just to keep it standing. Like
as much as can. Obviously,
So in a minute 30, she bloody shut the gap on me and got me into like the stand-up clinch, and I was like, how do I get out of this without her taking me down? And my trainer was just like, take her down and get back up. And so I kind of like judo through her.
Oh.
And like, yeah, it was very nice. Styling. And then we landed kind of like in this position, and I went to go like that to ground and pound, but I was like, I can't do that. And she put her hand up to stop me, and I grabbed it and put it in between my legs and just like threw my hips to the air, and she just screamed tap, and I was like, oh, sweet.
So that wasn't even...
That was my retarded armbar, and it worked, so that's okay.
Was like, were you planning to...
Not at all. Like, honestly, I was not planning to go to ground do
Yeah.
anything on the ground.
Yeah.
Like I would have initially just stood back up, but I think the fighter took over, and
And
I
you
was
just-
I was like, but
Gonna hit her on the
that
ground.
also I knew I couldn't hit her, and she went to stop it. It just gave me that opportunity to grab her
hand.
arm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it worked. It was very unexpected.
Oh, man. When was this?
Oh, this was like 2014 or 15, I
Okay,
think. It
this
was
is-
like years ago.
this is a while
Years
ago,
ago.
okay.
Yeah, it was when because after I broke my ankle, kind of backtracking a bit here,
That's all right.
I moved home back to Rotorua, and I had surgery, but I also met my second boyfriend down there and stayed there for 3 years. But I tried training and fighting, but I was super depressed. I wasn't happy, and just a lot of life drama at that stage. Yeah, I just wasn't performing. I was just
it's interesting you talk about that. Like there are a lot of factors that come into play when you talk about fighting, right? You know, like it's not just about like going to the gym every day,
Nah.
just training and
you can
then
be
fighting.
the fittest person, but if your mental game's out, you're not going to perform how you should. It's 99.9% mental, I think, is what Dan Hooker said, or 99% mental, which is true because your brain's a very powerful thing, and if you start thinking negatively about anything, it comes out. And even though you're training hard, if you think that wasn't a good training session, then it's not going to be a good training session. It's
And so you had that period where you were away, and then you moved
Yeah.
back to Auckland again.
Yeah, I was really, really, really down when I was at home. My partner at the time, he shot himself in the leg while we were out hunting. Yeah, so that was a big traumatic experience for me, which I didn't realize how much it had actually affected me until I got away from the situation, because it just, unfortunately, we butted heads after that, and it just wasn't going to work out. And so I moved back up to Auckland, and
Damn, what? Man, this,
Yeah.
I'm still like, why did he shoot
why
himself?
did you do that for?
Yeah, why did he shoot himself
I
in the
asked
leg
him.
for?
He was like, I don't know. No, it was a pure accident.
Okay.
It was during the Raw Easter weekend, and he had loaded the gun, but in all theory, it should have been on safety, and he slipped over on this log, and it just went off, and just shot him in the leg.
shit.
Yeah.
Man, thank goodness it didn't shoot you in the leg.
I know. I was actually, because we were chasing some deer at the time, and they barked at us, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to chase anymore, because usually once they bark, they're alluded to something's not right, and so they've bolted type situation. And so I sat down just to have a little rest on the clearing, and him and a friend that we were with wanted just to pursue these deer, so they went, and like a minute after they left, the gun went off, and I was like, fuck, they got the deer.
That's pretty weird, yeah.
And then I heard my ex go, I think I just shot myself. And I was like, what? That's not funny. Like, are you serious?
Sorry.
And then they didn't respond to me. And so I just beelined it to where I thought the gunshot was. And sure enough, he had shot himself in the leg. Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, that's pretty unfortunate, but fuck.
Yeah, he was very lucky to be alive, and he kept his leg, so that was pretty good too.
Talking about hunting, that's pretty impressive. How long have you been into? Because I saw one of the photos you posted of the fucking carrying the deer on your back.
Yeah, that
I
was
like,
at the end of last year.
my goodness, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, that was a huge deer as well. I was like, shit. How heavy was it?
With the guts out, probably like 80 to 100.
Still pretty heavy.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy to hike up that little hill too. It was
Shit. When did you like start hunting and all that?
Well, we've always been, like, my dad's been a keen hunter his whole life, and we've always been camping in the bush and stuff like that. But I think it was the day before my 7th birthday, my dad was getting ready to go hunting, and I was like, where are you going, Daddy? He was like, I'm going hunting. I was like, well, can I come? Because I remember my 5th birthday was at the aquatic centre in Rotorua, and my dad had come out of the bush, because I'm born in the Raw, and so my dad came out of the bush to give me my present, and then he went back hunting. Like, he was always hunting, and I always wanted to be with my dad. I was definitely a daddy's girl. And so the day before I turned 7, we went hunting up Mount Tarawera, and shot a 12-point stag. Yeah, and it was one of the most coolest experiences I've ever had. And so I just became this little bush girl. And because my birthday was during prime time hunting, we'd basically spend every school holidays. My birthday was in the school holidays, so 2 weeks in the bush. Like during the weekdays, we'd go hunting up Mount Tauranga and other places, shooting possums, and like we'd take the fur, and that would be a little side income. And
Yeah, that one's quite an interesting one. I've heard people talk about like taking
there's
out
good
the fur
money
of
in
the
possum fur.
Really?
Yeah, there can be. It can be pretty good, especially
how
if
much
you-
does that? How much does that work out to? Like
I think
one.
you can get like
Because the possum's not very big.
nah, you got to get a few. That's
Yeah.
the thing. If you've got a good block where you've got a lot of possums and things like that, and you've got access to it, then you can. I think it got to like $21-$23 a kilo.
Wow.
Yeah, so you just save up all this fur, bags of fur, and then you take it in and you just get some cash.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Like it's funny how sometimes you tell people outside of New Zealand about the possums, right? And
Yeah.
and they'll tell you they're really cute.
They are cute little animals. Like
Yeah.
I would always try keep the little baby ones and stuff, and
Yeah.
but they are noisy buggers. So
Yeah, they
they
are.
can go back out to the wild.
Mm.
But I don't believe that they're as big as pests as what Doc makes them out to be. Like you don't need to go 1080 in our bush to get rid of them. You just need to employ hunters, which they kind of did start to do and stuff like that. But
Was it the numbers were just
they tried to say, well, they try saying that it's just killing our native forests, all our trees and stuff like that. But
interesting conversation that
Yeah.
you mentioned about that because I've met someone before from Dog.
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
he actually told us and he showed us some photos. He didn't really show like heaps, but he did say that they actually brought the people from the local iwi. Is that what they call?
Yeah.
To bring them out because one thing is just telling people about it, right?
and then showing them.
Yeah, and so the other one was they actually
Yeah.
had to bring these people in to fly them around. This was I think in Taranaki.
Oh yeah,
And just to fly them around and have a look and see what kind of damages like these rodents and all that stuff is causing.
yeah.
And only after that was when they realized that look, something needs to be done.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like you can plant a picture in front of anyone, but like the block that we hunt, Tongariro National Park, like that bush hasn't changed much.
Well, maybe
We've been
might be
hunting
different
there for
area. I don't
years.
know. But yeah.
They 1080'd the shit out of it, but you didn't just lose the pests. Like you lost wildlife and
Deer,
all that kind of stuff that does
yeah.
keep the bush alive in its own way. Like every creature is put on this earth to do its cycle of life. Like this bug's here so that bug can eat it. Like there's so many different ways to
Well, it's
the life cycle.
it is interesting because there are some animals and plants that were introduced.
Yes.
That
Just like
cause
the possums
problems.
were. The possums
Yeah.
were introduced as well. So they're not native to our bush, which is why I can see they could be doing damage to it and stuff, but it's not going to kill our forests. Like our forests are never going to die.
Well, we are no geologists.
No, I know.
and
I'm just
scientists.
a hearty against 1080. Like, I hate that 1080 stuff. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there was a job that I did before. I came across the area and they had that big sign up. So don't be in that area during this time, time. And
you
whatnot.
can't drink the water. Your dogs can't drink the water. The other animals die. Like the amount of deer we've come across hunting that are like have been poisoned. It's really sad. And then they want to do the whole take out the tars. Like, what are the tar doing?
Take out the what?
The tars.
What is it?
They're like mountain goats. With the
Oh,
big
okay,
horns
yeah.
And the chamois. Like, yeah.
Why do they want to take that?
I never really got into why they wanted to get rid of them, but they started off this big, massive cull for them. Yeah, but I don't know. They've
So
all got their little reasons.
So what has been like your biggest catch? You'd say going hunting.
I've caught some pretty big boars, like pig hunting, because I got into the old pig hunting, and that was exciting stuff. Like I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like animal cruelty, and it's seen as animal cruelty, but
They're probably gonna like
it's
this video. I'm not gonna watch this video
Yeah,
anymore. This
yeah.
guy's talking about hunting,
It's,
and killing animals.
Yeah, I think I was 13 when I stuck my first pig, and there was just another buzz and a half.
What did you shoot the pig or what?
Nah, stuck it with a knife.
Man, you
Yeah.
stabbed the pig to death.
Yeah.
Savage.
Yeah,
Savage.
so it was just another.
So what?
another-
Okay, wait. I've never been pig hunting before. I don't know how it works. So you run, you chase the boar,
Yeah.
and you I thought that
So-
boar was supposed to be chasing you.
No, they can be nasty. They
Yeah.
can they get into fight mode and like
Mm.
they screw your dogs up because they've got big tusks and
Mm.
they get them and rip them and all that kind of stuff. And I've seen dogs flown in the air from them. And
Oh,
but
shit.
when you're hunting on foot with
Mm.
your dogs, you're just basically having a lovely little nature walk, and then your dogs shoot off. You hear them bail, and you're just like boom, and you run towards the bail, and it's just a real big excitement. Like
Yeah,
it's pretty
man.
massive, and then like you see the situation, like if any of the dogs holding it, usually if they're holding it, it's a reasonable size. If they're not holding it, it's a big size. Like
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's there's like you don't know what to expect once
And so
you
you
get
come
there.
right behind, pull out your
Yeah.
knife.
Yeah,
Oh,
you've got to
shit.
do it smartly though.
Okay.
Like you can't just go in and grab the fucker. Oh,
Yeah.
you do go in and just grab the fucker, but
Yeah.
you've got like there's techniques to it there, and like you grab the back legs, you flip them over,
Oh.
and there's a certain place to like stick them. It's like in between the ribs or down the little thing there,
The hole
like
right in the middle,
brisket,
yeah.
like down there, yeah.
Okay. And that's basically like, just to go for the heart, or
Yeah,
what is that?
yeah, straight in the heart.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, straight in the heart. But some people do it behind the ear as well.
Yeah.
Like there's heaps of different techniques to doing it. And majority of them is the fastest way to kill the pig.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And so what's the biggest catch you'd say? Was that the bull?
Yeah, I think 200 and something
200 and something kilos?
pounds.
Oh, pounds. Okay,
Pounds,
so
yeah.
that's like half. So that's
Yeah.
about 100, roughly about 90
I
100
don't know
kilos?
how to
So,
convert.
I think it's 2.2. I think it's 2.2 or 2.5. Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. So it's about 80 to 90 kilos, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
So it's a pretty big pig.
Shit.
Yeah, it took us 3 hours to carry it out.
So you said the other thing you were telling me about is like when you catch the deer or the bull, whatever, you rip it open and you take out all the unnecessary.
Yeah, otherwise you just carry, unless it's for a competition, and a lot of people leave the guts in for a competition. But yeah, you cut them open, rip all the guts out, the heart, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you leave the organs in, it turns the meat off quicker.
Oh, okay.
And if you're in the bush for a couple of days, you take all that crap out, hang them up, and let it chill. Like you can hang a deer for like 20 something days, and they're really nice to eat after that.
Wait, so you just hang the deer
I
out in
think
the
it's
open?
21 days, I think.
You just hang the deer out in the open?
Yeah, or in a shed or a
Oh.
chiller. But when you're out in the bush,
Mm.
it's you hang it up under a tree in a deer bag, and
Damn.
then it sets.
What,
Like you
what
gotta
does
let the
what
meat
does
set.
it what does that do for the meat?
It just like it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's curing it, and I don't know if that's the right word.
So
Like
as the aged meat thing. is
yeah,
it? That's
like
okay,
aged meat, yeah.
okay.
And so yeah, the first time I heard that someone had left the deer hanging in their shed for 21 days and it was the best meat they've ever had, I was like, are you serious? Like it needs to be in a chiller. But no, a lot of people do it, and yeah.
Interesting, very
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know about that one, like hanging the meat out. Like I
Mm.
know of the processes where what's that? You put it in it's not a dryer, but it's like a temperature controlled. It's not really a chiller, but it's like, man, I don't know how to explain. You've probably seen the guy, the Salt Bay guy who is
Bear
like
Grylls.
no, the
James Bushman.
no,
Huh?
not here. The he's not the Turkish guy, the Salt Bay
Oh,
guy, right?
No,
So
I don't think I have.
he has like heaps of restaurants and like all
Oh,
that shit.
yeah.
So I saw some videos and he has this huge plant facility somewhere. I think it was in Turkey or something.
Mm.
And yeah, they just leave the meat in there. It's not really a chiller, but it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know the exact term for it, but
Yeah,
anyway,
I can't
it's
think
like
of it either.
it's basically not a chiller, but what it does is it dries the meat or
Oh,
something,
okay.
something
So,
like that.
like into salami, have you cut the deer up or is it just hanging there?
I think it's just hanging there, or like
Mm.
they've already cut it, and it's
Yeah.
like you know how they have more expensive cuts and all that shit,
Yeah.
and then it's like
Yeah.
dried meat. It's very interesting. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
it'll be some special little.
yeah, and some places like it's bloody expensive.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
expensive. You're like, man, like what's the Japanese one? Wagyu, is it Wagyu, is that the right way to pronounce it? Man, I don't know. But there's all these different cuts that like go for like hundreds of dollars and shit. I was
Yeah,
like, man,
and venison's so expensive as well.
but it does taste very good.
It's very good meat.
It does taste very
Yeah.
good. Like the first time,
Wild venison's better than farmed venison, I reckon.
really?
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference? Oh, because of
Just
the
of
food
what
they
they
eat.
eat. Yeah. It's what they eat. So
And they're
different.
they're a lot more like healthier.
Yeah, and relaxed. Like,
Oh.
they're out in their natural environment, not in a farm herd, and which is pretty unnatural for them to be in such big herds, and put under pressure for moving paddocks or going to get dehorned, going to get tagged, going to get this, going to get that. Yeah, they're just loving life, and then
Man,
they go to
our
sleep.
conversations drifted like far into hunting now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Like, it's pretty cool, and it's not like, I mean, not to be a sexist or anything like that, but like it's not. Well, in New Zealand, I think it's pretty common.
Yeah, it's
But
common for female hunters now.
Here, yeah, but it's like
yeah.
when you talk like like on a global scale, like usually you
Yeah.
don't hear a lot of girls who go
Nah.
hunting and stuff like that. It's maybe
It's great, like just the whole sense of the journey, like going bush, setting up camp, eating dinner by the campfire, like just being in nature.
But what
It's
like you also
amazing.
need to have like a lot of patience, I'd say, because like
Yes,
you know
do.
that's crazy, and like
Yeah.
just don't go out on your foot. You might not catch anything for
Oh,
like a couple
yeah.
of days or
Yeah.
like stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
you can go away for the whole weekend and not catch anything, not see anything. My dad, now that he's getting a little bit on, he videos a lot. Like he puts
Ooh.
out game cameras and takes lots of photos and stuff like that. And he's picked up on so many different habits and what they do and what time of the day they're up and all that kind of stuff. And it makes
Man,
sense as to why sometimes you miss them, because they're doing something else. They're not out in the open and eating and all that kind of stuff.
and
And
that's really cool.
Yeah.
You say your dad's like getting into it, like
he takes a lot of photos down.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Like he'll only shoot deer if he needs to fill the freezer. Yeah.
because that's the thing. Like when you catch something, it usually lasts you for quite a while, right?
It does. Often we share a lot of it out. Like that's one of the
So
other
neighbours
things.
and
Yeah, and
families and-
family and friends.
yeah.
Like that's another thing that hunters love being able to do is give people meat. And yeah. So you could shoot, like if you shoot 2 or 3 deer in a weekend, you just cut it up and hand it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. I've seen, you go outside of like Auckland and, like out in the rural parts of New Zealand, and you see a lot of the youths pass by with like the deer in the bag or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
see it, it's like, oh, yeah, and I've seen some like back of the vehicles that's like stuffed with.
Animals. Yeah, some people do overkill and stuff like that, but it's things that you learn.
But
as
if they're
you
not
get
wasting
older.
it, like if they're
Yeah,
giving it out,
yeah,
that's okay.
It's,
And
it's fine. And
there's a lot of people who might need it, like.
they say deer hurt the environment too, so the more you can take out, the better. And they'll stop 1080ing. That 1080's, oh,
It's because what
it's a
exactly
horrible,
is that? It's
horrible poison.
It's a poison that it causes you to suffocate. Is it suffocate or
you just kind of
dehydration or what is that one? What does that one do?
it just starts killing off all your organs and stuff like that.
shit.
You're frothing, like they're all frothing at the mouth. It's a horrible, long, painful death. Like
Oh,
it's not nice, and especially if your dogs get into the water or something like that, or eat a possum that's had it. It's it can carry on. Like apparently
shit.
some humans got
Like drinking the water from
no, they ate a pig.
they
Yeah,
ate the
yeah, but
Oh,
because the
shit.
pigs are quite hard to kill, they've got 2 stomachs, I think. I think
Oh,
it is, or
okay.
something. Or they regurgitate their food, so they can swallow it down, but then they can get it out of their system, and it's really hard for them to die from poison. So they've
Yeah.
tried heaps of different ways to kill off the pigs.
Oh shit, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's wild, man.
Yeah, and they tried deer repellent ones. It was these little brown 1080 pellets that were meant to be the deer wouldn't eat them, but you'd always see things dead.
Yeah, because you can put a lot of stuff out like the animals don't eat it, but that's the thing as well. Like, wouldn't the way of just like getting hunters and stuff like that to go in and kill him, wouldn't
Yeah.
that be the better way? And then like you don't waste the food as well.
In a hunter's point of view, that like the ultimate goal would be to be paid to hunt. Like that would be awesome. So, but they're just
Doesn't
it's not
really
really
happen,
it's not
yeah.
really that an accepted sport It's not it's not classed as a sport. It's really like more like a hobby type thing. And
it's not a cheap hobby as well.
no, it's not. It's not a cheap hobby.
Yeah, guns, ammunitions, and then your
clothing,
4x4s and clothing,
petrol, gas, food, all that kind of stuff. Like it's not a cheap trip to the bush. And and it's also quite dangerous. I mean, you are dealing with firearms and your dogs. If
accidents do happen, and you can shoot yourself in your leg.
Yeah, you can shoot yourself in the leg.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That was freaking insane. I never ever thought that would happen. Like, especially to either, like, I would be in a situation where I'm saving this person's life. Like, that was crazy, because I had to send the mate off to go get help, and I tried to keep him alive. Well, I did.
Yeah.
But it was an hour and 45 minutes until anyone got to us.
Oh, emergency services? Or?
Yeah, because we're in the middle of the bush, really, and so it was Easter weekend as well, and they had to get all the rescue team in from outside of the area, and then they came and they did a pretty good job.
Oh, thankfully
they just pumped in full of ketamine, really.
Thankfully, it's it comes out of it alive.
Yeah, he's lucky.
Man. Anyway, we've drifted a little bit. Before I forget, one of the things I want to ask, going back to like fighting, and all these fights that you kickboxing, Muay Thai fights that you had, what would you say has been like your toughest fight? Across boxing, kickboxing, whatever. What would you say has been like your toughest fight so far?
It would have been that 4-woman, man, by far.
The 4-woman?
Hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was this, and where was this one at?
Oh, funny this one comes up. So it was 2 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
I was doing the whole trying to live out of my van.
Oh yes, that was another one I was going to talk about as well, because I've seen a video before somewhere.
The Vice one.
Yeah, you did an interview, and then it was you and your van, and you were like, living out of your van, training, fighting.
I had pretty much just come back up from Rotorua, and I was like, I was still in a really bad place. Like, I was in a bad place for a long time, and
mentally,
mentally just not okay, and
we never really are okay.
Nah, but you get better.
Yeah.
And so I was working as a teacher aide at the time before I moved into my van, and like it was really hard to live off that wage, and like you didn't have work over the school holidays and stuff like that, and I just wanted to train, I just wanted to fight, I just wanted to get back into that old me, because I was lost for a long time. And my friend at the time was like, I'll get you a van and you can live in your van and just train every day and all that kind of stuff. And so we did that. And then shortly after I can't remember how long I was in there for, like 3 months or something, but it was during winter. It was the worst time. It wasn't an insulated van. It was just full blown, chuck a mattress in the back and live in there. And so I ended up getting bronchitis. Yeah.
Shit, that's not good.
Nah, it was terrible. So I was in this fight camp for this 4-woman, and 3 weeks before it, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. I ended up staying in a friend's flat and was in this little room and just dying. Like, it felt like I was never going to stop coughing. It was just horrible. And couldn't eat anything, couldn't do anything. And then so I hadn't trained for the last 2 to 3 weeks of the camp, and I remember walking into the gym one day and you just like, you should be in hospital, like you don't look very well. And I was just like, no.
He's coughing like an old 90-year-old man who's been smoking all his life.
Oh, dude. And it was really horrible. And so he was like, we can't pull out, and I was like, I don't want to pull out. Like, I can't, like, if I pull out, the 4-woman's off. Like, you can't.
Yeah, because you can't fight a 4-woman with 3 women.
No, exactly. So it was one of those things that I was just going to have to, like, in my eyes, we're just going to have to scrap. Like, it was like, there's no way I can pull this off.
Damn.
And so the fight was at, the tournament was at 57 kgs.
Okay.
I weighed in at 53 fully clothed. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So
that's not good.
I tried my hardest to put on weight, but I was just so malnourished and like
couldn't
just
eat.
I was literally looked like walking death. Like, it was horrible.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And so I got through the first round with Fiona Sim. I did enough to win that fight. She fucking hit hard too. Like, it was, I call it panic fighting. Like, I was panic throwing everything. Like, her elbows were hard, her hits were hard, everything was just hard.
But that's because if you're sick,
yeah.
everything just feels a lot more worse than what it is.
I had no conditioning. Like, I was skinny. I was this little twig. It was just, I was disgusting. Like, it was disgusting.
Well, you were sick. Like, no, you can't be too hard on yourself. Like, you know, you were sick.
It was just, I was horrible to see myself like that. And then I got into the final with Kelly Browers.
Oh, so you actually won the first fight?
I won the first fight.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, but honestly, straight away, I was like, fuck, I got to do this again. Like, this was my first full woman too. I'd never fought twice in one night.
In one night,
which is cool. I actually really enjoyed it. I like fighting twice in one night. But
well, if you didn't take a lot of damage in the first one.
Yeah, and if I was like in the condition that I'm in now, it would have been a completely different story, I reckon. But I was so fucked for that second fight. I couldn't feel my legs; they were jelly. Like it was just horrible.
Who was it against? The second one?
Kelly Browers from Strikeforce.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the hardest fight night or fight competition that I've been through, because that was just a real fight for your life situation in my eyes. Like, I shouldn't have been fighting, but that's what you do. You just keep going.
Damn. But like, come to think of it, like, that was the hardest fight for you because you were not physically or like well.
Yeah.
Physically
at that time. And mentally unwell.
Yeah.
Like, like, you name it, I was there.
But okay, let's say maybe the question I should ask then would be, who's the toughest opponent you've ever faced?
Baby Nansen.
Oh, because you fight who, your current teammate Baby Nansen, as you fought with her before.
The champ. She's amazing.
When was that?
Yeah, so I had my 6th fight against her.
Oh, this was way back.
This was way back in the early days.
Way back. Okay.
We fought for the WMC lightweight title, and 5 rounds she won. That was bro, she hit so hard. Like, I lost count of how many times I seen stars in that fight. And yeah, she was just so much more experienced and just so good that I couldn't pull that off. That was a cool
for
experience.
For a very small person. She actually puts out a lot of power.
I heard her warming up through concrete walls. Like, I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna get fucking kicked to shit. Like, this is gonna hurt. But it was a good, cool, fun fight. It was fun. It was just real fun, but real hard for me at that stage of my fighting to go with her, because I watched her. I think it was my 2nd fight when I fought Tip up in ETK at the ABA there, and Baby was fighting Bronwyn Wiley, and I was like, I want to be like that. Like, that was an insane fight. And then shortly after, I got asked to fight her, and I was just like, holy shit. So yeah, that was.
Can't really say no.
No, I can't really say no. Yeah. And then
But that's the thing as well. It's like not about saying no, but it's wanting to test yourself.
Yeah.
As well, you know, and to see where you stand. It's like, it's not about, like, I think this is the other thing as well. When you've learned and understood fighting, it's no longer about like being scared of the opponent. Like,
it's about what you can achieve.
Yeah, it's about testing yourself and see where you stand. It's like, you know, whether you can implement what you need to do to beat this person or you know, whatever it is. But does it make you feel like this? Yeah, I mean, definitely it feels better now to be on the same side.
Yeah, definitely, because like we've fought 3 times. We fought again. Like, she had twins shortly after that. She got pregnant pretty like shortly after that fight and had her beautiful girls. And what was it, like a few months after she popped them out, she was messaging me going, let's fight. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Like, that was it was such a shock to me, because I was like, you've just had 2 babies. Like, not one, you had 2 babies.
Damn.
And so she wanted, because she said I took her spot when
she did talk about it on the podcast as well. And she was like itching to get back into fighting.
It. Yeah, she's a fighter. She's amazing. So fortunately for me, I won that one. But then we fought again in boxing a few years back.
Oh,
And she just fucking dealt to me, man. Dealt to me.
she's very strong.
Yeah,
She's a
she-
very strong puncher.
Yeah, she's a
very strong
great
puncher.
boxer too.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
was,
because
that was a funny one.
the recent boxing fight that she had, well, she won. She stopped.
Yeah.
She stopped. Well,
That was
they
great.
retired in the corner. I think. I'm trying to remember there. They retired in the corner.
No, she knocked her out. Was it her last one or was there another one after that?
The one where she won the title. That was the most recent boxing fight.
Yeah, against that tall girl, like kind of taller than her.
What's her name?
I forgot her name.
I can't remember. It was on the Glosia boxing.
Yeah, did she not knock
event.
her out? Was it
She
one
knocked
round
her
two?
down,
Oh.
and then there was an 8 count, and the fight carried on.
Oh.
But I think it might have been after that round or the 1 or 2 rounds after that. I think
They
that
didn't come out for the
they
corner.
didn't come out from the corner. I
Ah.
think the coaches in her corner stopped the fight.
Yeah.
I think.
There's just no need to take damage when you've
Yeah, exactly.
especially from
And
baby.
oh man, and she was
Yeah.
throwing with bad intentions
yeah,
in that fight.
she always does. She always does.
And you could
She's a
see it on
great
her
fighter to
face as
watch.
well. Like
Mm.
she's someone like who just goes to a different universe when she's when she's
Yeah.
fighting, and you know
Yeah.
she was throwing everything with like really bad intentions, and you could see that she was really trying to take her out.
Yeah.
And I felt bad. Like I really thought they could have stopped it earlier.
Yeah.
Like that girl was taking a lot
Yeah.
of damage. But then again, like being fighter, you always want to let your to go out on your
On
shield,
your shield,
you know,
yeah.
and
Unless you can't stand up, you don't want to stop.
yeah, but that's where
it's-
I feel a coach's experience is very important, because your coach would know when is enough. Like I'd be also believe in the saying of I'm not saying this is wrong to go out on your shield. That's one, but I also believe in saving yourself to fight another day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because we talk about like
Yeah, you can always have another fight. Like
yeah, exactly.
you want to be well enough to be able to keep doing it.
Exactly.
Mm.
And if you're doing it for a career as well,
Yeah.
you want to be able, and if you have, you have families, you have responsibilities and all that. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to take damage you don't need to take.
No. So yeah.
Hey you,
sorry.
don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video.
You did mention earlier you were traveling and fighting. What are some of the like other places that you've been to fighting, like besides New Zealand and Thailand?
Pretty much just Thailand, Australia,
Oh,
and
okay.
here.
How many fights have you had in Thailand?
just the one.
Oh, just the
Just
one.
the
there.
one. Yeah,
And
I
that was
haven't actually fought that much overseas.
Would you like to, or is it something that
yeah,
you want to?
It's definitely something I want to do. It's when I first kind of got into the seriousness of fighting often and chasing titles and all that kind of stuff, was I wanted my fighting to take me around the world. That was one of the biggest things I wanted to do. And it sucks now that COVID's happened, but I mean,
It's very difficult time now.
yeah, it is. But I mean, Australia's open, so there's hopefully some
Ooh,
opportunities
just-
that are going to come from there.
It's just shut.
Ah,
Yeah, just
Ah.
like I think was it yesterday or something
don't
like.
follow the news.
Yeah, I didn't as well. Like I just found out from someone who posted it on their
Oh,
Instagram, and I was like,
no.
oh, because Sydney. I think previously there was somewhere else they closed the travels from there, and then now it's Sydney.
Yeah.
And I think Sydney is in lockdown right now up to July the 9th or something like that. Greater Sydney or something. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I saw. And I was like, oh.
That's annoying because
what's
there's
that?
like, I think we've just got 5 fighters put on a turnal over there. So hopefully but that's like, what, 8 weeks away? So 6 or 8 weeks
Yeah,
away.
it might clear
hopefully
up
be-
by then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like New Zealand has a very strict stance on this whole thing, which I'm not saying is bad.
It's good for our environment.
Yeah,
and
for the
safety
people
and all
here.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, but it
But
just,
sucks for like.
it's a world pandemic. Like, the
Yeah.
rest of the world's still suffering from it. We're just lucky that we don't have to deal with what they're dealing with. We just have to deal with not being able to travel and
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's just
interesting.
limitations.
It's interesting now as well, like, talking about, vaccinations and herd immunity and all that sort of stuff,
Mm.
so on and so forth. Because okay, so now the next question I have in my head is like, because they've been rolling out the vaccinations for quite a while now. I don't know. Have you been vaccinated?
No.
No, okay, so I have anyway.
Ah!
But so because the job that I do requires
Yeah.
me to be in certain
Yeah.
situations where I'll be in very close or like close contact with
Yeah.
these people,
Yeah.
so I have to be vaccinated, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think once I think it's said that like once 70 or 80% of the population is vaccinated, like technically,
We should be safe to travel. And
yeah,
stuff
we
like
should
that.
be safe to travel, or
Yeah.
like the borders open so that people can travel in and out.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be a lot of arguments, and like the thing is, what's weird, and I struggle a little bit with it as well, is like that just because you have the vaccine doesn't mean you can't get it.
Yeah.
Which was I was like, man,
Yeah.
so
It's
why
just
did
like
I?
the flu jab. Like, just because you get the flu jab doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu. It just helps trying to prevent it. But
Or less chances
less
of
chances of getting
yeah.
it. Yeah. But
Yeah, it's crazy. And
yeah,
it sucks that like Australia is the only place that we
can
can
kind
go
of
to.
go unless
Yeah.
you want to come back and do 2 week
Yeah,
quarantine.
yeah, exactly. And we talk about the guys at our gym. We talk about the
Mm.
UFC boys. We talk about Huge, the coaches, like who've gone in and out a couple of
Yeah.
times now, and who've had multiple 2-week quarantines, and like it's no joke. And
No, it's
talking about Brad has done. I think among all of them, Brad has the highest number of quarantines so far.
yeah. And the last time he went before this fight just happened, it was all for nothing.
Wow, it was not all for nothing, but
you know,
because Alex was fighting, so he was there to corner for Alex, and
No, he was meant to fight.
yeah, he was supposed to
But
fight the week.
Didn't Alex get the COVID? Wasn't
Yeah.
it Alex that tested positive?
Yes,
So did he
and
still
then
fight? No.
Alex, nah,
No.
Alex didn't
Yeah.
fight, but
And
then
neither did
Alex
Brad.
went on to do the Ultimate Fighter,
Oh yeah.
but Brad went back because
Brad came home.
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
what else can
yeah,
you do?
'cause that's very sad. And like that was when he had just had his child as well.
Yeah.
So like you want to go out and like it's that father thing, like
Yeah.
they say that a father's strength,
Yeah. Well, parent strength.
Yeah.
Goes to the
they
females
both,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Because there was another female fighter I think that just came back from her pregnancy and
Bailey.
just fought. Yes, Bailey.
Bailey
like,
fought last weekend as well.
Yeah, and that's another one.
Yeah.
And I think on the UFC as well. I can't remember who exactly.
Was it a female?
Yes, a female fighter who came back from
Not
after
sure.
having a child and went back into training camp.
Yeah,
and
bodies
fighting.
are crazy.
That was what's it, champs Amanda Nunes's partner.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? Was she lost the
she-
fight, but yeah, she just came
Yeah.
back from
Having the baby.
having a baby
Yeah,
and
that's
fought
crazy.
on a big platform
Mm.
like the UFC. And it's not easy, and like it just sucked, that he couldn't fight, but
Yeah.
yeah, his last fight was incredible. Like it
He's
was.
one of my favorite fighters, like pretty close to the top. But
I think he's a favorite fighter of a lot of people.
yeah, he's amazing. I love
Yeah,
watching his fights.
It's incredible. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty. The first
was
part was like it
boss.
was pretty. You're getting a little bit nervous. Like man, he got clipped. And he really
Yeah.
got tested on that one.
Yeah.
But like I was a little bit when I was watching it at first, I was a little bit worried. I was a little bit worried, but I thought about it again, and it's like, why am I worried? This is Brad.
That's how
This is Brad.
yeah,
like
Brad loves these kinds of fights too. Like he loves getting in there like that. Like he loves a good scrap. And he
That's
did
very-
well.
that's
He
very
did well.
smart.
Like he got put in the danger zone, but he survived. Got to the position he needed to, and all that kind of stuff. And then he just turned the fucking fight around.
Yeah,
like,
man, that was
it was
so
so
crazy.
good.
There was a couple of times that I thought the fight could have been like Brad could have stopped the fight.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
shit.
That dude was
Yeah.
tough. They're both tough. Like, that was a really good matchup. And that dude's knockout record was impressive. And, yeah.
I think he's quite a big guy for
Yeah.
a lightweight as well. Like he cuts a lot of weight and puts on a lot of weight after the weigh-ins as well. But man, that was a crazy fight. That was a
It was
crazy fight.
bloody
man.
good to watch, man.
And I
So
loved
good
I
to
loved
watch.
how the fight finished. Like,
Mm.
with Brad on top.
Because
like,
that's
he's
what
smashing the
always
shit out of the
happens.
guy.
Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, wait till he starts doing 5-round fights. These guys are going to be buggered.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy. He has
his
like
endurance. Like, he has it was wicked to watch him do one of his spiders, because we all watched one of the last spiders that they did, and just he's phenomenal. Like in his training, he's so dedicated, he's so strong, he's so fit, and it's just really, really cool to watch.
He has this thing that he taps into as well, you know, talking about the mind, the
Yeah.
strength of the mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, just Brad is on you know, and he was talking about it on an interview as well, you know, about putting himself at a very high standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, he talks about, it's funny how, you know, sometimes like when he talks about Israel, and then like, you know, he puts Israel on a high standard, so he wants to put himself on that level, you know.
Yeah.
And then when Israel talks about him, Israel talks about the same thing as well.
The same thing. They all push each other.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Like they're all on that same level. They're all incredible.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's awesome.
But you know, it's good to see and to hear, and like there's so much that people can learn from Brad, you know, even the small little things, and you know, it's the minor, I think it's the minor details, you know, that will lead to a big difference.
Yeah, some of the most simple things.
Yeah, small little things, and
can make
you know,
difference.
exactly. Like that was what Brad was saying. Man, I'm probably gonna butcher what he said, but it was something about like, you know, at the level that he's at, everybody trains hard.
Yeah.
But what is it that you're doing different, or new things, or you know, special things that you're doing that, you know, make you better.
Make it different and make you perform better.
Yeah, and obviously you've got to have heart as well, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were talking about fighters, you know, you're talking about Brett being one of your favorite fighters. Who's some of like female fighters that you looked up to?
Kaylee Reese.
Kaylee Reese?
Yeah, Kaylee Reese. She's like the OG. The OG of female Muay Thai.
Oh, okay.
Multiple world champion, just phenomenal technique, fucking physique of like a goddess. Like she was a super strong woman. And yeah, she was definitely the top of my, because she was also, you know, you also want to get to that.
Was she? Sorry, Muay Thai. Okay.
Muay Thai world champ.
okay.
Yeah, and Julie Kitchen. She was one of my favorite fighters for a while.
That one's Julie Kitchen, was a
Julie
kickboxer.
Yeah, Muay Thai as well. She
fan.
was Muay Thai world champ as well.
Ooh.
At a bit of bigger weight. I'm not too sure what it was. It might have been 57. I can't remember. But when I was coming up in the sport, those were the two main people that I idolised. And Valentina Shvinchko.
Yeah.
She's
a killer.
Like, she's
a killer.
Has always been one of my top fighters, female fighters to look up to and stuff like that. Like, she's just bloody precise in everything she does.
Very technical, very strong.
Yeah.
Really good speed.
Yeah, and just focused. Really, really focused. Like every fight, she's just in that zone, and it's really cool.
Yeah, man. Like you know, they were talking about like her facing Amanda Nunes again and all that. You know, about like, but I think that was the other thing about the weight difference.
I don't know what the weight difference is between those two.
But like Amanda Nunes is like relatively bigger. You know, and she's quite strong. Like she's not quite strong. She is strong.
Yeah, she's a strong girl.
Yeah, and like the last fight that she had with what was her name, Megan Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you see the punch that Megan took, and like it was one of the first right hands or something, and like Megan was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, that's it.
I was like, "Oh, that doesn't look good."
Yeah. No, she's a very powerful woman. But so
because I actually thought that Megan, like, you know, I was like, oh man, she might have a good chance because
Megan has the skill set. Megan is very skilled, and she technically great, all that kind of stuff. She's huge.
She's tall as well, like really tall.
She's a big girl, like tall, long limbs, all that kind of stuff. Like she is a threat, but I think, and sorry if I'm wrong, Megan, if you ever listen to this, is her mental game is what loses her fights.
Oh,
I think.
Why would you say that? Or
because I think she, like, you get inside your own head, and if you're not 100% backing yourself, then where did you pick this up though? Was it like from her pre-fight interviews, or like she speaks a lot about her mental strength and things like that. I haven't followed much of it lately, but when she was coming up in the UFC, she was someone that I watched because I thought she was really cool, and she's a lot of self-confidence. She needed,
or
lack of
yeah.
self-confidence.
Okay.
That she openly said she needs to work on and stuff like that. And I remember talking to Ash James one time, and he said that she's looking pretty good because she's gotten a lot more confident and sorted her mental game out and stuff. But it's hard. Like we're in a bloody physical sport, and females, not all females, but you know, we're all wired differently. We're all wired differently, and we all
Definitely, yeah. Like,
you know, it's a hard game to go through.
yeah, talking about that confidence and that, yeah, that mental strength, like everybody has different, not even, not just for females, even for guys as well.
Yeah.
Being a really good fighter is one thing, but having the confidence in yourself,
Yeah, it's self-belief.
Going into the fight, it's
because
insane.
like heaps of people can tell you, you're amazing, you're this, you're that, like you look so good, all this kind of stuff. But if you don't believe it, if you don't think that highly of yourself, it doesn't come out. And
yeah, interesting. Talking about you having that one MMA fight and fighting out of the gym with so many very talented MMA fighters. Are you ever gonna get back into that, or what do you think?
I do. Like, I really want to give it a crack. I reckon I'd be pretty ace at it. Like, it'll be fun to see where it goes. But I need to work on a lot of like jujitsu and wrestling and all that kind of stuff. I need to focus.
Have you been doing a lot of those training?
I get into it, or like I'll go to a wrestling class here and there, but then I'll get into a fight camp either for boxing or kickboxing. That's what's been happening over the last couple of years. And for me, not being so mentally strong, like I've leveled up a lot in the last 6 months, I reckon. And I used to talk myself out of going to those trainings and like get real anxious about doing them and not being physically able to do shit and all that kind of stuff. But like, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't do it. Like, so it's...
Why would you say that is? Like, why would you talk yourself out of not
just
going?
I think that was the depression, like the depression and anxiety. I could drive to the gym and just my heart rate would start going and I'd start like feeling real sick, and then I'd just be like, I can't do this, and I'll go home. But it's hard to explain why that was happening, because like I hadn't dealt with a lot of trauma and things like that, and just suppressed it with smoking weed and
Man, that is that's quite interesting, because a lot of people talk about this as well, like having that struggle, like that struggle's real,
Yeah, for a lot of people. Yeah. It's
So how did you, maybe can you share, like, how is it that you dealt with that? Like, how did you overcome that?
It's only literally been since the start of this year that I've felt like I've either left some things behind or finally moved on from shit. I don't know. I honestly don't understand it. When my doctor said the reason why I'm so tired all the time is because I'm depressed, I was like, what? Like, I don't...
So your mind is kind of processing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a super overthinker. Dude, I do not go to sleep. Like, it's terrible. But, for me, I didn't want to go on antidepressants or anything like that, because there's so many mixed stories about those kinds of things. And chemically unbalanced and all that kind of stuff. It's worked for some people, doesn't work for the others. For me, I feel as though, one, it was hard for me to accept the fact that I was depressed. I didn't think I was. Like,
that's the first thing that people who suffer from depression, they don't want to admit that.
Like, you can't really accept it. Like, the doctors keep saying this and that and the other, and I'm like, nah, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm laughing all the time. But another one of the things is, like, people deal with trauma by being funny and making light out of everything and all that kind of stuff. But when that door closes and you're by yourself, it's pretty hard when you don't have a strong mental game. And I've been by myself for quite a lot of the time, and I lost the right train of thought. And so for me, I just would watch podcasts and like listen to things and like started doing yoga.
Breathe as
Yeah,
the other one's like
breathing,
techniques as well. Like
There's
yeah.
a lot of interesting stuff about breathing. And just started thinking positively more about things, and instead of thinking every social situation was going to be negative, like I'd hate to go meet up with people. Like the amount of times I'm like, yeah, I'll come, and just don't go because I was just too scared. Like, and I don't, what were you scared of? Like, no idea. It was just
Being in that
anxiety,
social
like,
situations.
yeah, it was just really, really hard. And so
That you prefer to be by
alone.
yourself.
Yeah, I'd prefer to be alone. I'd prefer to do everything by myself. Like
that can also be a good thing because you're an independent person.
Yeah,
you don't need to rely on someone.
That's why I
to
always
get shit
thought
done.
That's why I always thought it was good to be alone, because I can do this by myself. I don't need people. I don't need this. But you do. You need good people around you to support you, to talk to, like, and just do things with, because humans need other humans. You need interactions and all that kind of stuff. Like, we crave attention in all different ways, and yeah, when you isolate yourself from everything, it's not good. It's not the way to go.
Man, that's interesting. And it's good that you're sharing stuff like this, because like I'm very sure there are people who are listening who have issues and struggles like this, and
there's a lot.
It's hard because some people go through these things, and like it's I think as a society people find it hard to ask for help. Or
especially if you don't know what's wrong as well. And like,
you can't fix something if you don't know.
No,
it's broken,
don't know it's broken. You don't know what's going on. But sometimes, like, people think, like, especially for me, it's like I had my problems that I couldn't deal with properly, and it was making me a nasty person. I'm not gonna lie, I was a cunt for a while there, and like I just said what I wanted, didn't give a fuck, and I'm really glad that I've gotten past that point now. But I thought my issues weren't good enough to speak to people about. Like, there's so many things that other people go through that are huge, like, and then you think your problems are just so small, and like, why are you worrying about it? But you have to realize that it's your problems, like your issues. It doesn't matter if other people don't deal with them. It's your life, and if that's an issue, you need to address it and get help. And like, when people say you got to get help, it's scary because you don't know what help is.
What does help mean?
Yeah. And how do you get it? Like, you can talk to people, you can do this, you can do that, but consistency is a big thing as well. Like, constantly talking about just things like either what you've been through or what you feel, like all that stuff, and just changing your mindset, going and doing cool things and enjoying life, like enjoying your time instead of just negatively.
Like, that can be hard for if someone is if a person is someone who doesn't like to be around people and stuff like that. It's hard to like go out and just do stuff. And
there's a reason they're not around people. There's something suppressed. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fucking doctor or anything like this, but usually if you don't want to be around people, it's because there's something holding you down. Like, humans need people. We're very connected. Which
is quite interesting. You talking about, like, if someone is having that problem, what do they do? Where do they go and stuff like that? Who do they talk to? How to get, what kind of help to get and stuff like that. What do you think? And recently I've seen a few stuff like from the brother Mike King, who was talking about, mental health in New Zealand, the whole Gumboot Friday thing, and the IT heavy hitters event that they had and stuff like that. And the recent one where he actually returned I don't know if it's just a medal or it's a title or something like that. He received it and he actually returned it but I'm not 100% sure on the details, but from what I know, he received that title or medal or something like that, and he actually returned it, and he addressed that to him this medal didn't mean like everything to him. Like, he was more concerned about like the real problems out there,
saving people
and like helping people. And as someone who has struggled with that yourself, And like here in New Zealand, like, do you think enough is being done or enough help is available, or what is your thoughts on that?
I haven't really dabbled into like the free counselling or anything like that. I've been to a few counselling sessions, and to be honest, man, I'm like, one of the counselling ladies just stared down at the floor like this whole time, like this, and was like, "Oh yeah,
Wow,
oh
talking
yeah,"
to
and
you.
I was just like, I was like, what am I even doing here? Like,
Was it an old lady or?
it was an older lady, so she may be just a little bit past her prime, but
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I think like there are avenues for people to go down and stuff like that, but a lot of like you can get professional help and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of it comes from the people you're surrounded by as well. If you're in a toxic environment, it's not going to change. Like, you need to change your ways. And like, for me, I smoked a lot of weed. Like, I was abusing the shit out of that stuff.
Okay.
And because it was the only thing that kept
That
me
was-
calm,
that was
put me to
available,
sleep,
yeah.
that like if you have a cone, you're fine, like type stuff. But for me, I needed to change that, and no one else could change it for me. It was always going to be me. And it took me a long time to realize that, like, yeah, it was just suppressing everything.
But that is another conversation altogether. Being New Zealand not adopting the cannabis to be part of
Part
to
of
be
it,
used
like,
for medicinal purposes.
That's the thing. Like, it's a good drug in different ways. Cannabis oil, all that kind of stuff. It helps people with
CBD.
epilepsy.
Yeah.
CBD oil, all that kind of stuff. The medical purposes of it, and just having a joint every now and again is not that bad either.
It
like,
actually
it's not,
helps people to calm down.
it does.
and-
But when I say I was abusing this, like, wake up, have it.
Yeah.
Go home on lunch breaks, have it. Like,
Real heavy.
I was fully stoned every single day, and it was just that's not the right way to go about stuff. And
Definitely, because you function a lot differently as well if you're constantly.
and you trick yourself into thinking you function better like that.
That's how your mind. That's how your mind tricks you and thinks that.
So for a long time, like, because I smoked it since I was quite young, because I've always had real bad sleeping issues. Like, I'll just be awake all night fucking twiddling my thumbs. But it for like the last like 2 years or so, every time I'd get high, I'd be like, why are you doing this? And you'd just make yourself even more depressed, because you're like, you physically, like, you can't stop it yet, but you've just got to do it. I don't know, it's really hard. It was really hard. Like, I can see why people with addiction struggle to give the things up, and there's always like rehab and stuff you can go to and stuff like that, but for me, I just had to, like, it was myself. Like, I just had to stop it. And so I finally got rid of that shit.
Man, that's good.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank
Like,
you.
yeah, and good for you as well to be able to be in a better headspace as well.
Yeah, oh my God. I feel so much better. Like, no wonder I was so freaking down and depressed and stuff. Like, it was just suppressing everything.
When you have too much or something as well.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, and it's not, there's the other thing as well. When people develop habits like that, it's not cheap as well. Like,
tell me about it.
It involves a lot of it involves a lot of money.
And then you're
when
always depressed that you've got no money.
Yeah, and because you're putting your money in the wrong places, right? And then just adds to like the other problems. So
it's just a big snowball effect. Of
yeah,
shit.
I'm not against it, like, but I think with everything in moderation. It has to be in
definitely
moderation.
within moderation.
Yeah, and like, you see in this day there's a lot of studies that's done, talking about drug use, microdosing, and like how it helps people in different ways.
Yeah.
And how, like, for example, there's a lot of research and experimentation going on with using drugs to help like criminals, or to help convicts, or people who are struggling with mental issues, to kind of stabilize them and help them to get on a path.
Like, you go to the doctor, you get given drugs.
Yeah, exactly. It's just legal drugs.
Exactly. So, more chemically suppressed drugs, like, too, they're all chemically made and stuff like that. So finding a natural drug like or I don't know why I'm going to say LSD here. It's not that natural. It's kind of chemically. But I heard a lot of rumors about how a certain amount of LSD resets your brain to be happy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mushrooms, apparently, like in microdosing. I think there's a thing on Netflix at the moment called microdosing.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I'll
Yeah,
check that out.
I haven't
Okay.
watched it yet, but I just got told about it the other night. But yeah, like some people with brain injuries that their brain isn't functioning properly, like
Okay.
microdosing,
Yeah.
and mushrooms, because of the brain activity when you have mushrooms in little microdoses, help stimulate the brain back and things like that.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Check that out.
interesting to hear. So there are some good things for drugs, but when you have it in moderation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's what's funny is like from a very young age you've always been told that drugs is bad for you
Yeah.
and like do not.
But
take
some of the most
drugs.
successful people are full blown druggies.
Again, like we are not encouraging.
No, we're not
anything
encouraging
on this,
drugs. They're bad.
on this podcast. Please, fellas, do not
learn your stuff first. Don't
please
just
seek
go do
some
it.
professional help. We are not professionals, so
No, we're just gas bagging.
yeah. But
Yeah.
man, it's very interesting. You know, it's a whole study in itself, and I mean, there's a lot of research out there. You should go. People should probably go and find out from the right sources. You know, don't listen from us. We're just idiots.
Yeah, no, we don't. I don't even know what I'm talking about most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wendy, I don't want to keep you on for too long. We've come to the section now. Wise words from the wise lady.
Oh.
So, for the people watching, listening, what advice would you give them?
Oh God, I wasn't really.
If you give anybody any advice, what would it be? Or I think what's a better question. If you could give your past self advice, you know,
Don't do drugs.
Well,
Don't do drugs.
Besides that,
Nah, I just the drugs I'm talking about is marijuana too. It's like I don't class marijuana as a bad drug.
Yeah.
Like you say, only if it's in moderation.
it's legal.
Yeah.
Hey guys, stop letting your body go on in pain and feeling sore all the time, man. Start putting some deposits in your health bank and take care of your vessel. Go get yourself an amazing massage gun from Sharpened Recovery. It's a very affordable and lasts a long time. Highly recommended. It probably costs less than 5 meals outside and definitely cheaper than a pair of shoes. Instead of getting something that's going to be on your feet, why not get this massage gun to massage those feet and legs? Go to sharpenedrecovery.com and use the code AliChannel for 20% off your guns. Yes, 20%. You can thank me later. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go get yourself some amazing gear. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of like younger female athletes now who just coming into be it Muay Thai or kickboxing, boxing, whatever. And the other one, I think there are a lot of females getting into jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, which is awesome. You know, like whatever sport, you know, I'm all for.
Yeah, martial arts, do it.
Yeah,
put your kids into it. Martial arts.
Well, that's another conversation that, you know, I think that all kids, boys and girls, should get into.
Do some form of
but yeah, I don't want to take this little bit away from you. What is your advice?
I don't know. All I can think of is really just follow your gut. Like everyone gets a good gut feeling about things, and just follow your instincts and do what makes you happy.
But don't do drugs.
But don't do drugs. Even though they make you temporarily happy, don't do them. Yeah. I don't know, it's hard. I don't feel like I've got much great advice other than just fucking stick to what you're doing. Like, just dedicate yourself. If you can, like, if you've got a dream, it's very much accomplishable. Like, you can do it. It's just doing the hard yards for it, really.
Yeah, and sorry, just to touch on what you were talking about earlier, getting kids into combat sports and all that. Like, I think this should be more accepted with, you know, parents, younger parents these days. Like, they should send their kids to learn combat sports.
Yeah.
Because what I feel like, what it helps with is number one, discipline. You know, like
Yeah.
you learn being disciplined at a young age. You
Yeah.
learn what like hard work is like,
Yeah.
and you also learn how to deal with losses. You know,
Yeah.
wins. I'm not talking about getting
Ups and
into a fight, like
downs,
you know,
like, yeah.
wins and losses of the day or of
Mm.
the, you know, whatever. You have a bad day. How do you deal with that bad day? You know, how do you come back stronger? How do you use that
Yeah.
to kind of fuel you and, you know, to go
And kids need that. Like, they need direction.
exactly because
Yeah.
they're, you know, it was funny. Like I just had a conversation the other day with, you know, someone who was telling me he lives in an area where there are a lot of white privileged people, and I had just had a laugh. I was like,
Yeah.
but it actually makes a lot of sense because a lot of privileged people, like we don't talk about color, but like can be whatever color, like
Yeah.
privileged kids don't experience this kind of hardships,
No.
right? You know, like if they
Yeah.
don't want to do it, they just don't. You know, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have to. You
And
know?
I mean, easy life for them. Like, they come up with, like, life pretty much handed to them, which is fair enough. If their parents have worked hard enough to be able to give their kid that kind of lifestyle, cool. But it's making sure they don't turn out to be dicks. Like, you can
which is very hard.
you can come across some dickhead people,
Yeah.
and yeah.
You know, just that being, you know, that
Martial arts sorts it out.
yeah,
like, it's
being humble.
Yeah, you can have an ego. You can think you can think really highly of yourself, which is important, I believe, because if you don't, like Brad said, like, you're not gonna be that. Like, if
exactly.
you want to be great, you have to think you're great, but you have to do it in a humble form. Like,
like there's like a cap to it, you know, like
yeah, there's a cap to it.
putting
and-
it, you know, you can have a very big ego, but if you put in the work, kind of supports it. So like that's fine.
You
like,
can, if you can back your shit up, then cool. But it's also like, for a while there, I was real nasty about things, and like, I'd be like, oh, just fucking smash you. But in all theories, like, you should be nicer about it, like, more respectful, and you just look like a dick when you're like that. And I think martial arts in general helps you process being a good person.
exactly.
Like,
and I think it will solve a lot of bullying problems, man. Bullying problems in school, you know, like you know,
yeah,
even same gender bullying, or like boys bullying girls and
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Like if a girl knows how to fight, like, you know, or hold
Oh,
herself, protect herself,
yeah.
like shit.
we've always kind of grown up with the fact that if someone bullies you, punch them in the face.
Yeah,
Like, just do that.
Yeah.
But when you get older and you start learning that that child behaves like that because of some other reason, it's not, doesn't necessarily mean that kid is going to be an awful person when he grows up. He might just be going through something at home that's, he's bringing it out at school because he can't take it out at home. He might get beaten up at home. He might be super unfed at home. Like, there's so many different reasons to why kids behave the way they do.
It's a deep, really deep
And like,
psychological
that's the thing,
issues.
the development of the brain, like, when you're so young, when you're a young kid, your brain's changing so often, and some of it's shut down for like growing processes and all that kind of stuff, and they don't have a sense of reality, really. Like, they're all just like, kids have no fear. When you get to our age, you start thinking about
awesome?
things, and it's like, that's scary.
Isn't that awesome? Like to have that.
I used to have no fear as a kid. And
Just
now
wanna do
I'm like,
anything
oh,
and
don't
everything,
do
yeah.
that. You're going to get hurt. Like, so you kind of start processing things differently when you get older. I think it's like 25 or maybe 26 when your brain's fully developed.
Yeah.
So up until then, your brain's changing. Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, Wendy,
Yeah.
last one before we go. Tell us, what are some of your future plans? Anything in the works? What's coming up for you?
At the moment, I've only got 2 fights locked in for the end of the year. Caitlin Tucker, really, really looking forward to that fight. She just won a title against Miriam Teo, and that's going to be a really, really good fight.
Her name
Me and
sounds
her.
familiar. Is she from the South Island?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
from Lucky Nine Gym. And so I'm fighting her in October, and then I'm meant to be rematching Aisha for the trilogy in November. So those are the only 2 locked in. But hey, anyone want to fight me at 60 kgs? Come get some.
Yeah. Any
yeah.
shout outs you'd like to give to anybody or any person or?
Shout out to my mom
Oh.
and my dad. Yeah, just the family and friends.
Yeah. Your
And
mom, I think
you
your
for doing this.
yeah, I think your mom's like a real big supporter of yours because I was at
She
one
is,
of the
but she also hates it.
I was at one of your previous fights and
Yeah.
I think what kind of stuck in my head was like your mom was actually there.
I can
And,
hear my mum yell, man.
Yeah, and she was after the fight. We were out this was at the what stadium was that? The one in
The last one.
No.
Oh.
The one on Sifu Philip Lam's show. What's the name of that stadium? Barfoot and Thompson.
Yes.
Barfoot and Thompson
Barfoot
Stadium.
Thompson Stadium,
And what that image kind of stuck in my head was we were out and then we're just saying bye to everyone before we leave, and I saw your mom. Your mom was there and she was holding up your
My
big
trophy.
ass trophy for you.
She
Right?
takes my trophies home. I'm not allowed them. She's got like this big shrine of all my trophies.
Of all your trophies.
Yeah, and like I started to click on because I'm like, where are my trophies? She's like, I've got it. I'm like,
How's it
what?
that you got it?
Yeah. So every fight I give my trophy to my mum.
And
Yeah.
she brings it back, keeps
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
I think she definitely is very proud of you and your achievements
Yeah.
as well. Definitely,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure it's like it's like an old not an old people thing, but like parents thing. Like when your friends come around or stuff like that, you want to talk about what your kid is doing and what they've achieved.
Yeah,
and stuff.
she loves talking about all of us. She's
Yeah.
got 4 girls.
Wow.
I'm one of 4,
Yeah.
and we've all achieved different things in life, and she's proud of all of us. But
Definitely, and she should be. Of
yeah,
course,
yeah. She did well, and the funny thing is, so like every fight she cries. Well, I don't know if it happens now. I think she might have built up the resilience to
over time.
let's step back. Oh my god,
Yeah.
she's one of the most nervous people. That she rings me all day, every fight week. Like, just settle my nerves for me. I'm like, your nerves. Like, I'm the one jumping in the ring here. But she loves it. My dad loved the last fight too. He got up to come and watch. So that was cool.
Yeah, talking about, sorry, just to go back a little bit, you were talking about
Yeah.
the trilogy fight with Aisha in November.
Yes.
And that was the one that, I kind of, we were talking about a whole lot of other things.
Yeah,
I've got to talk
yeah.
about that. But your last fight that you had on King in the Ring, that was a very beautiful performance. And,
Thank you.
you had the fight stop early and you both were,
Yeah.
when the fight started, you both were like absolute warriors going at each other.
Yeah.
And like, you timed that kick really well. And you landed that shot and she went down, which was like, when you look at that, I was there.
Massive adrenaline dump after that.
And when you looked
so
at it, I was like,
cool.
oh. And
Yeah.
she was, hats off to her, big respect to her as well.
Massive.
Because she woke up and she
Yeah.
still wanted to
Yeah.
come and fight.
Yeah, she didn't want to get stopped. Like
Yeah.
she was,
Oh, it's crazy.
She was there to scrap. She's an incredible fighter, and I've always like watched her fights and watched her journey through fighting, and it's a really cool,
Yeah, and
cool journey she's having.
she's had a lot of big tough challenges as well at
Yeah.
her age, and
Yeah.
she's like I don't know how many times she's fought in the past couple of months.
Super active.
yeah,
Super active.
very, very active fighter.
Back to back. 1 week in boxing, the next week in kickboxing. Like,
That's crazy, yeah.
It's good, and she's tough, man. Like, she's not taking on easy people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
She's
I
not
think
avoiding anyone. Like, she rematches. It's
I think that's like that's it's a really good thing as well. Like if you want to be a better fighter, you want to improve and you want to progress, like you've got to give yourself tough challenges.
Yeah,
Just
that's
cruising and having easy
yeah.
fights is not really gonna get you. If you think about it, it's not really.
And
gonna
you see it happening. Like, you see people sugarcoating their records and stuff like that, or they don't want to jump into a fight because they're a little bit like might not win that one. So yeah, but it is what it is. Like.
Yeah, man. Anyway, Wendy, again,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming down today, doing this podcast,
Thank
and
you.
sharing a little bit of your story, giving some good advice
Oh.
as well. And appreciate it. I definitely look forward to see you do big and great things, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so much.
Boom, that's us. Thank you guys for staying, watching this far, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you on the next one.